Good morning. Welcome to the Lorain County Board of Commissioners meeting of November 10th, 2021. This meeting will now come to order. We will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our inspirational word for the day comes from Ephesians. Use every chance you have for doing good.
Thank you, Commissioner Lundy. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Here.
Commissioner Moore?
Here.
Commissioner Lundy.
Here.
Okay, our first item of business is a budget hearing. We have today Prosecutor J.D. Tomlinson and Chief of Staff Jim Birch. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to grab one of the microphones there.
You want Mr. Microphone? There you go. Thank you.
Madam President, members of the commission, this morning at JD's insistence, I had prepared a real dog and pony show. But upon arrival, Commissioners Lundy and Moore advised against it. And
It was the shadow puppets I think we had
Yes.
concerns about. So,
as my father always told me, when the judge is arguing your case, don't help him. So I will be brief. I have a copy of our general fund budget that we're requesting
Okay.
for everybody on the county. And I want to tell you why I think we need the money.
Thank you.
This budget would represent a 7.7% increase over last year. The reason I'm requesting this on behalf of the prosecutor's office is because we anticipate wanting to give raises in the amount of 3% next year for our staff across the board. All of them are working very hard, and we have an excellent staff. I've said before I would compare the attorneys that work in the prosecutor's office, I would compare them with any lawyers in this county or elsewhere in terms of skill, dedication, intelligence, and knowledge of the law. In addition to the raises that we would like to give, we have some new expenses. This year, for example, it cost us another $9,000 to use our automobiles. We hadn't been used to paying for our gasoline, and now the county engineer is billing us, and appropriately so, and we're paying those bills. In addition, we have a new ADP computer system that is coming to us at a cost of $32,000. In addition, in the juvenile division of our office, we want to create a virtual courtroom so that we can handle hearings remotely in what would otherwise look like a courtroom setting. The estimated cost of that is approximately $20,000 for the equipment and the furniture necessary to make that improvement. We're also contemplating the fitting up of a conference room for our victim witness advocates where they can take our victim witnesses and interview them in comfortable surroundings with recording equipment. In addition, we're required to supplement the budgets of local police departments. In the case that I'm speaking of now, it would be the Elyria Police Department. They provide us with cell phone extraction services through two engines. One is Cellbrite and one is Gray Key. The cost of these systems this year will be approximately $36,000. Now, the reason these cell phone extraction systems are so important is because by using these in the investigation of a crime, if, for example, a perpetrator has his phone with him during the commission of the crime, and 99 times out of 100 they do, the police departments can actually give you the latitude and longitude where that criminal defendant is at the time the offense is being committed. I saw that at work just yesterday. Our Major Crimes Division tried a homicide case, and it was absolutely remarkable the way Detective Matt Kasparovich from the Elyria Police Department was able to pinpoint just exactly where the shooter was at about the same time that the crime was committed. These are unbelievable engines in criminal justice and investigation, and we need that. And these increase, by the way, about 3% each year. We provide the police departments with this service because they couldn't afford to do it on their own. Last year, we didn't make any requests for expenses for travel and training. In that regard, we're asking for about $5,000 each for training and travel. That pretty much sums up what our cost increases are and what we're requesting from the commission. I certainly had a longer presentation prepared, but I'm going to hold that and just ask if anyone has any questions.
I just ask, caseloads, I assume, are probably picking up again as we come out of COVID, and then at the same time, whether I have a conversation with, the coroner or anybody in law enforcement, insurance industry, whatever it may be, it always seems like somehow drugs are connected to something that's going on in this county in most of these cases.
Yes, drugs are at the heart of every offense we prosecute, from violent crime to prostitution, home invasions. They're all drug-related in some fashion.
Just add one thing to what Jim said. We talked about this yesterday, and I think it's important to bring up. In part of the salary increases, we've taken a lot of work on my side of the shop, on the civil side, in-house that we had otherwise, prior to this year, had been sending out. So like the employment work that we're doing in-house now, that's caused an increase in our salary budget. We've had to staff up for that. But I think that, we're also not paying those expenses out to outside counsel. I think that's important to note. But.
Thanks, Dan.
And then also the importance of working with our crime lab.
Commissioner, our hearts were broken the other day. Maybe not the forum for it, but crime lab is crucial to us, because if we get backlogs in the testing of evidence, and that's everything from fingerprints to bullet casings to rape test kits, we get delays in prosecution. Criminal defendants have the right to a speedy trial. And when they know that our labs are down or backlogged, they will enforce those rights. It could very well come to the point where we have to dismiss even very serious cases because we cannot bring them to trial quickly enough. The Bureau of Criminal Identification and Investigation is far, far behind in meeting our lab needs.
But the local lab is working well with you? Our crime lab, our county lab?
As well as possible, yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. It's crucial to us.
So,
Anything, Commissioner? Okay.
Thank
you very much. We really appreciate you coming in and rescheduling on this. And you guys had a very important press conference last Friday, so,
Yes, and thank you for
yeah,
doing
and
that.
you guys were preparing for that, so thank you for rescheduling.
thanks.
Okay, moving on to B, proclamation. In the matter of proclaiming November 15th, 2021 as America Recycles Day in Lorain County, Ohio, whereas each year the United States generates more than 292 million tons of municipal solid waste That's more than 4.5 pounds per person per day. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, our nation has reached an overall recycling rate of 32.1%. Whereas to focus on the nation's attention on the importance of recycling, businesses, industries, government agencies, nonprofit organizations, and individuals have joined together to celebrate America Recycles Day and are encouraging their friends, neighbors, and coworkers to pledge to learn more about recycling options in their community and commit to recycle more materials every day of the year. Whereas participating in America Recycles Day 2021 is one way citizens can help raise awareness about the need to reduce waste by reusing, recycling, and buying recycled content products. Whereas the Lorraine County Board of Commissioners can use this as an opportunity to spread the word about the excellent recycling programs that have been established, the growth of markets for recyclable materials, and the importance of buying and job-creating recycled products. So now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Lorraine County, Ohio, that we hereby proclaim November 15th, 2021 as America Recycles Day in Lorraine County, Ohio. And to tell us a little bit more about that, we have Brandy Schnell, our Lorraine County Solid Waste Management District Recycling Specialist. What is your official?
Community Outreach Coordinator.
Community Outreach Coordinator. Well, welcome.
Thank you, Commissioners, for having me, and good morning. Thank you for that proclamation. November 15th is America Recycles Day across America. Every year, it's always on November 15th, and we like to do some things to celebrate that here in Lorraine County. One of the things that we are doing, we have a display up at the Carlisle Visitor Center. There are enlarged drawings of our calendar contest that I came and talked to you about earlier in the year. So those are on display at the Carlisle Visitor Center, as well as the chance to take the America Recycles Day pledge, which basically says that you're going to actively seek out more information about how to recycle more in your community, that you will take the opportunity to recycle more, and that you will share that information with other people, because we really need to get that contamination rate down and the tons of recycling up. And if we can do that, then we are going to be in a much position better overall. So if you fill out the pledge card at the Carlisle Visitor Center, you will also be entered to win, for a chance to win a rain barrel that was donated to us by the City of Avon Lake Water Department. So there is a display there of a rain barrel, and you can also potentially win one. So that's awesome. We also have a pledge card up on our website, as well as our social media. And we're doing a contest in the schools currently. We send out a letter letting the teachers know what America Recycles Day is, and asking that they read that to their students and have their students sign this pledge sheet, and then those get returned back to me for a chance to win a pizza party. So we like to incentivize people to get out there and do what needs to be done. So thank you so much for that proclamation, and I look forward to another America Recycles Day in Lorraine County.
Thank you.
If I could, since we see this as an opportunity to educate the public about recycling, what kind of challenges are we still running into with recycling? Because some folks just think, well, I'll just throw it in the recycle container or whatever it may be. Any thing that we're noticing, any patterns that we want to educate the public about so that we have greater recycling efforts?
Sure. The biggest problem right now is contamination, which means putting things that are meant for the landfill into the recycling bin. There's a small amount of people who are using their recycling bin as a second garbage can. That's not what's mostly happening. What is mostly happening is what I call wish cycling. People who think that they're doing the right thing, people who think that they're recycling, that this item is recyclable, or they'll figure it out over there. And that's not what we need. We need to know the 5 main things that can go in, which are our plastics, bottles, jugs, and tubs, our glass bottles and jars that had food or drinks in them, our aluminum and steel cans, our paper products, which does include cardboard and paperboard, and we put those things in our recycling bin and nothing else. The biggest contaminant is plastic bags. people putting their recyclables in a plastic bag and then putting them in the recycling bin. That is not what they want. It makes it very difficult for them to sort it, and it also, if those plastic bags get into the system, they really jam everything up. So plastic bags are a big no in your recycling bin. That would definitely bring down our contamination rates if we could keep the plastic bags out.
Yeah, I just can't say enough about how fortunate we are to have such a great recycling center. In the past, I'll admit I hadn't used it much in the past, and all of a sudden when I sold my house and my fiance and future wife sold her house, and we had things to clear out of our respective garages and houses, and then unfortunately a couple family members passed away and had cleaned things out of their house and out of the garage. It's amazing all the things we store in our garages, right? Brought those things over, put them in a box in the back trunk, just pulled up, they took it out of the trunk and drove away. I know even my next door neighbor used our recycling center for the first time last year, and he said every time I see him I just have to sing the praises. He said I go over there all the time now and drop things off, so it's so convenient.
The Lorain County Collection Center is located at 540 South Abbey Road. It's right here in Elyria, and it is a drive-through facility, like the Commissioner mentioned. You can bring your electronic equipment, your old paint and household hazardous waste. We don't want those things going down the drain. We don't want them going into the landfill. They can come to us. That is a service that is provided at no cost to the residents by the Lorain County Commissioners, so thank you very much for that. You can bring your household recyclables if you don't have access to curbside recycling. So that does allow us to have 100% access to recycling in this county, having that center open 3 days a week. Cardboard, fluorescent bulbs, we take a lot of things, and that's all on our website. And so we do encourage our Lorain County residents to come through, and businesses can bring a lot of items as well. They just can't bring scrap tires or haz waste.
In the hours off the top of your head?
Sure. Mondays from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m., Wednesdays from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m., and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Okay.
Unless it's a holiday.
Okay, very good. Yeah, you guys do amazing work over there, and I know our new director, Mr. Blevins, been doing an awesome job and always coming up with innovative and creative ways, so it's been running really well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are we going to do a picture, Commissioners?
Sure.
Okay.
And remember, when in doubt,
Throw it out. Very good. Yes. When in doubt, throw it out. Are we going to do a picture with the proclamation?
I sent you the map. I sent you the glossy.
Sure.
She got lawyers from Michigan State, so. Oh, really?
Thank you. Thank you. I travel with a photographer. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks for coming out, or down, I should say.
Yes, down.
Next time, Andy, you want a picture.
Nobody wants me to. There's already a picture of me with my kids.
That would look like this.
Okay, Commissioners, moving on to C, resolutions. Madam Clerk,
Number one, investments.
move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Lundy. Any discussion from the board? Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Number two, appropriations.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Lundy. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Number three, transfers.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Lundy. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Number four, advances repayments. There were none. Yes, right. Number five, requisitions.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Lundy. Any discussion from the board? Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Number six, travel. There were none. Number seven, bills.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Lundy. Any discussion from the board? Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Okay, the next item of business is number 8, authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary sheet for employees within the jurisdiction of the Lorraine County Board of Commissioners. At the conclusion of today's board meeting, the commissioners may recess into an executive session to discuss personnel and new hires and board appointments. The next item of business is number 9, I move to approve and waive the reading of the meeting minutes of October 28th, November 2nd, and November 3rd.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Lundy. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Okay, the next item of business is number 10. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Authorize the execution and delivery of an agreement with Amherst Consolidated Properties LLC, Sandstone.
Okay, move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Lundy. Any discussion from the board? Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Okay, the next item of business is number 11. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Authorize execution and delivery of an agreement for professional services with HCW Environmental Consultants LLC related to consulting services concerning the proposed roadway connecting Overland Road to Levitt Road, Amherst Township, Lorraine County, Ohio.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Lundy. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Okay, moving on to the Office of Solid Waste Management District. The next item of business is number 12.
Approve a district market development grant application in the amount of $30,000 for Dan and Mila Rezar Family Foundation for recycled content fencing around the stadium and recycled rubber fill for turf for new playing field at Elyria Catholic High School, Elyria, to be paid from the account District Market Development Grants.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Lundy. Any discussion from the board?
Yes. I spoke with Director Blevins in regards to our grants here, but hopefully by the end of the year or the first of next year, he's going to be implementing some policies and run it by us in order to make sure that people are aware of what the maximum you're allowed to get in regards to solid waste dollars. So I kind of like that idea, so people don't think they can come and get, $100,000 or $200,000. So I think what happened here was an excellent use of funds. And but I think the public needs to know once Dave has it all completed and submitted to us, the public will at least know how much the max will be allowed to funnel out, because we don't want to put ourselves out there and show favorites. So
No, I think it was a good project, and, we're always looking for ways to improve things in the community and bring more awareness and attention to recyclable or recycling-type products. And so I think this was a very reasonable investment to make in a project like this.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
The next item of business is number 13. Job and Family Services, sorry.
That's okay. Amend Resolution Number 2199, adopted February 10, 2021, authorizing AmeriCab, Inc. to provide non-emergency medical transportation services for fiscal year '21. The amendment is to reflect an increase of $85,000 for a new total contract of $415,000 to be paid from the Medicaid transportation account.
Okay, move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Lundy. Any discussion from the board? Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Moving on to the Office of the Engineer, the next item of business is number 14. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Approve and enter in a subdivider agreement with FLG Eaton Crossing LLC, Jeremy Rosen, subdivider for Eaton Crossing Subdivision Number 1, Eaton Township.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Lundy. Any discussion from the board? Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Okay, the next item of business is number 15.
Approve and enter an agreement with GeoSci Inc. in the amount of $100,000 for ongoing engineering inspection and materials testing fees necessary to construct the Eaton Crossing subdivision, Eaton Township, and authorize payment from engineer project account MVGT.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Lundy. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
The next item of business is number 16.
Amend Resolution 2160 adopted January 27, 2021, awarding contract with Fabrizi Trucking and Paving for the North Ridge Road Resurfacing and Waterline Replacement Project, Sheffield and Elyria Townships. The amendment is to remove the sections titled Partial Payments and Escrow within the section of the contract acceptance, measurement, and payment and under the general provisions, and authorized contractors shall receive partial payments for work performed on a monthly basis at a rate of 100% of the estimate.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Lundy. Any discussion from the board? Well, if you've been up there driving on North Ridge Road lately, you can see it's getting there. We're getting close, having it completed. Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Okay, and number 17. Madam Clerk, the next item of business is number 17.
Advertise bids for various Lorraine County Engineer Highway Department materials. Notice to be in the Journal on November 19th and 26th and open at 2 p.m. on December 10th.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Lundy. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Okay, moving on to the Office of the Sheriff. The next item of business is number 18. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Authorize the release of all claims and agreement to indemnify sole ownership of retired K-9 Sam to Sergeant Jason Zebek for $1.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Lundy. Any discussion from the board? Only thing I would ask is if Mr. Zebek could send us a picture to post Sam on Facebook, please. Would like to see him. Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Okay, the next item of business is number 19.
Approve and enter a technology services agreement with Secure PCN Inc., Elyria, in the amount of $90 per hour for Lorraine County DTF, effective retroactive to October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2022, and to be paid from the DTF account.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Lundy. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
I do think we are on our last item, which is Veterans, number 20. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Authorized payment of $798 to Dovin Funeral and Cremation Specialist, Lorraine, for an indigent veteran, Richard H. Moran, Vermillion, in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code 5901.25.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Lundy. Any discussion from the board? Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Okay, moving on to D, lobby session. Welcome to the lobby portion of our meeting. In order to speak on the topic of your choice, you will have had to fill out a slip and turn it into the clerk. We have one speaker today that has turned in a slip, Mr. Charles Ogletree.
All right, good morning.
Morning.
I have a couple questions that hopefully you can answer for the constituents today. With Tom Williams' lawsuit accusing the commissioners of firing him essentially because he was the whistleblower, much focus surrounds the likelihood that this board attempted to keep this from the public. So let's consider the obvious, the changing of the meeting schedule. The commissioners initially discussed in January the possibility of moving the Wednesday public meetings to the evening to allow more constituents to attend and participate in county government. The commissioners again raised the topic May 19th, confirming the change on May 26th, with June 2nd to be the first 6 p.m. evening meeting. Is it any coincidence that the schedule was abruptly changed back to mornings, beginning August 3rd, the day Mr. Williamson was fired and Michelle's misconduct was made public? There was no announcements made in the July 21st or 28th meeting minutes. I checked that. So I got to ask, what changed and why? I think it's pretty obvious. I think we know. Most voters work during the day and they can't attend. So when can we return to evening meetings? I'd like an answer for that, please. Otherwise, it may appear that this board doesn't value the opinions of those they represent. Next, how long must the voters wait for Michelle's promised response? On August 11th, she read the following prepared statement. I take the comments that have been made, that have been shared very seriously, and regrettably, I wish this had not happened, and I'm dealing with this matter with my family. I would like to address all of your questions and comments and have committed to a response at a time in the near future. I want to share with the residents that I appreciate your consideration and allow me time to have these important conversations carefully and considerately with my husband and family. Thank you. Michelle, you've had 3 months to deliver your response, but have failed. By your actions, any reasonable person would conclude that you have no intention of answering any questions, as you have made no effort to do so thus far, or you've not resigned. That would have been an option as well. You asked for time to discuss this with your husband and family, suggesting that this should be a private matter, and I think everybody agreed. But because of your silence and reluctance to resign, we are forced to address these questions in this public forum, on social media, and in the newspaper. Your unwillingness to answer to the people, or better yet, resign, again makes clear your lack of judgment and further diminishes your reputation. You have a duty to the people to make county government transparent, and you have failed. And by your continued silences, I think you've all failed. It's important to do the right thing, even when it's hard. Thank you.
Moving on to reports, E-County Administrator James R. White. Do you have a report for us today?
I do not today, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Administrator. F, Assistant County Prosecutor, Mr. Dan Petticord.
Thank you, Commissioner. I don't have a report either, but there is a piece of potential litigation I'd like to discuss in executive session.
Potential.
Potential.
I shall change that word. Okay. Moving on to G, Commissioner's report. Commissioner Moore, do you have a report today?
Just want to wish the girls in Amherst volleyball team, it's going to state. They made the Final Four from my hometown there, so I thought it'd be nice to recognize them. Their hard work paid off, and the whole school benefits are closing. They're actually allowing everybody to stay home on Thursday to support the team. So good luck and congratulations for reaching this height. I am working on a very long report. It'll probably be next week. So thank you. That's it.
All right. We did have the opportunity to go to the Chamber Business Expo event last week. It was really nice and they did still have the tables spaced out nicely, even people having room to walk around, and nice to see a lot of the businesses in Lorraine County come out and meet people and talk, and Brandy was there with her drawing. Brandy Schnell from our solid waste department was there when people were filling out their slips and putting them in the drawing for the rain barrel, so that was nice to talk to the folks there. And then on Saturday, we had the chance to attend an event out at the Lorraine Senior Center on Garfield Drive, which if you don't have a chance to get out there and you are over 50 years old, it's a $15 membership fee per year. So it's a pretty good value. They've got some nice amenities over there for the people over 50. I'm not going to say that they're older folks or retirees, because they're just folks over 50. So you can come and sign up for $15 a year, and they have a nice little exercise facility in there, and lots of activities to do and sign up for. So that concludes my report. Commissioner Lundy.
Okay, I guess I'm able to go over. I'm over 60, so.
I'm able to go too. I'm 51.
Yeah, first off, I want to congratulate the Lorraine County Chamber of Commerce hosting another very successful business expo and over at Tom's Country Place in Avon. I got there shortly after it started. The parking lot was already full, so everybody's just itching to get back out again. But it's so good to see everybody in the community and business people networking, and we have a lot of great small businesses here in the county, and I talk about it all the time. Please, before you hop in the car and run over to the mall in Strongsville or run over to Great Northern or whatever, certainly try to shop in the county and try to find the items here. Obviously, our sales tax is much lower than our neighbors, so please take advantage of that and support our local businesses. Also had the opportunity to attend that crafts fair that was held at Lorraine Community Senior Center, and a great turnout there. A lot of good crafts. really enjoyed speaking with a lot of those folks there, a lot of home-based businesses, and we forget that there's a lot of home-based businesses these days. Anytime I've gone to community events and they have the opportunity for businesses to set up tables, it's interesting during the discussions how many people started a small business during COVID, and they've been quite engaged in launching new businesses. They said it was something they always wanted to do or thought about, or they actually intensified their small business during COVID, and that's certainly kind of the wave of the future. Our community protection team met again this past week. The community protection team brings together folks from the medical community, the healthcare community, local governments, all across the board, just talking about how we can get through this pandemic together. I think it's been very successful. It's enabled us to have better communications amongst ourselves, have a better understanding of what kind of questions are out there in the community, what kind of rumors may be out there that need to be clarified, so that everybody's on the same page. They get the same information from the medical community and the health community to convey to the community. Case counts continue to drop in the county. Very strong turnout now with the vaccinations being available for the children ages 5 through 11 years of age. The important thing is getting more pediatricians involved. The general thinking is that the children feel a lot more comfortable if they're probably going into a room at the pediatrician with a parent instead of coming into a large facility where there's a lot of emotions in the room at the time, some people crying and those types of things. So it's more important for the kids to probably experience that vaccination more in the doctor's office. But we're being told in Lorraine County a very strong turnout with parents bringing their children out for the vaccination. The hospitals indicate that the volume certainly has been steady, but not at the surge level that we experienced a couple of weeks ago. And we're being told that those in the hospital are very ill. It's important to point out this time of year about getting the flu vaccine, that if you go to the health department, if you schedule for any of these clinics that are taking place, you can actually get the flu shot, and yes, you could get your booster at the same time. So one in one arm and one in the other arm, but that's what a lot of folks are choosing to do when they turn out for the clinics. And finally, just want to salute our veterans with Veterans Day tomorrow. Regardless of how busy we are in our daily lives, we always need to take that extra time to stop and thank the veterans for their service. That completes my report.
Thank you, Commissioners. Our next item is H, the clerk's report.
Tuesday, November 16th at 9:30, we will have our Quarry Road lateral ditch hearing.
Okay, our next item is I, board correspondence. I move to waive the reading of the board correspondence due to an executive session we have scheduled.
Second?
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Lundy. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
This adjourn into executive session to discuss personnel issues, employment, and new hires, potential litigation.
Second?
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Lundy. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Any discussion?
Any would you like to discuss?
Is my understanding that somebody advised some lawyers to come in and read to us the wage analysis that was done? Is that true? Because we're paying for lawyers right now to come in and talk to us in executive session. And I didn't authorize it, and that's an expense it's going to come up and I'll be voting no. So I want to know why we're having attorneys coming in, discuss an agreement that we had done, a report that we had done back in March and then we reviewed. Did both of you agree to that? Because I didn't agree to it.
I think there's been a pattern established with attorneys coming in to meet with us on these personnel matters. I don't know why we would be surprised this time. This has happened multiple times.
No,
since the
this
first
is
of
not
the
a
year.
personnel matter. This is a wage report. That's it. We've read it, unless maybe we haven't read it. But I feel like we're paying for money to somebody come in and explain something to us. Is that true?
No,
More to it than that.
Do you think this was discussed in executive session with Mr. Petticord?
I'm not saying whether or not it's executive session material. I'm just saying that I'm not accepting the fact that we're paying for attorneys to come in and read a document to us. I don't think that's your issue.
It's not.
Well,
This is our issue. It's the three of us.
I think on a regular basis, we have attorneys do legal reviews and
Correct.
express to us their legal opinions on why they wrote a report the way they did, or why they stated or took a position they did. So I'm looking forward to being informed. If I'm going to pay for something, I certainly want to get the information. I don't want to play the telephone game and get it secondhand. I'd prefer to get it directly from the source that I'm paying a pretty good price to deliver.
Okay,
So that's just my position.
that's good.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Lenny?
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
We have returned from executive session, and our meeting is back in session. I move to approve the personnel summary sheet.
Second?
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Lundy. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Meeting announcements. The next regularly scheduled board meeting is Wednesday, November 17th at 9:30 a.m. Is there any further business from this board?
There's also a ditch hearing. Do we have to announce that too, or no?
Well, I did it earlier,
Oh,
but you
did you?
can if you
Okay.
like.
No, we're good.
Okay, that's
Sorry.
Tuesday, 9:30.
And in a scheduling note, we will be not holding a meeting the week of Thanksgiving, just, so people know. And then we would be back on December 1st. Since there's no further business, this meeting is adjourned.